Let's jump right in. You'd probably noticed how insanely fast our whole world is digitizing, right? Especially in India. The surge in digital adoption over the last few years has been nothing short of an absolute explosion. But, with all that incredible everyday convenience comes a pretty massive invisible threat that is constantly evolving: cybercrime. So in this explainer today, we are going to pop the hood and look at the anatomy of an organization that is standing right on the front lines of this digital battlefield. We're breaking down the entire architecture of Cyber Ambassador, a group that literally positions themselves as the digital crime fighters of India. To really grasp the massive scale of their operation, we're talking about 34 different services here. We've structured this explainer into 4 key areas. First, the digital crime fighters. Second, enterprise defense and compliance. Third, incident response and management. And fourth, training and everyday tools.
All right, let's dive straight into part 1, the digital crime fighters.
Their core mission statement is right there, straight to the point, protecting people, banks, and institutions from digital threats. But I really want you to notice the sheer scope here. They aren't just catering to, giant multinational fintech companies, though they absolutely do that. They're actively protecting schools, colleges, everyday individuals like you and me, all the way up to incredibly complex urban cooperative banks. They essentially act as India's leading cyber grievance management and awareness organization. They offer 24/7 support just to make sure that absolutely no one has to face a digital threat all alone.
And just to put their footprint into perspective for a second, over 2,000 organizations currently trust them for their cybersecurity needs. 2,000. In the digital world, trust is literally the ultimate currency. Handing over the master keys to your network architecture or relying on someone for your strict regulatory compliance audits requires a massive degree of confidence. So let's take a look at how they actually execute this kind of defense on a daily basis.
Which brings us to part 2, enterprise defense and compliance.
Okay, so a hugely critical part of their proactive strategy is something called VAPT. That stands for Vulnerability Assessment and Penetration Testing. If you aren't familiar with the term, think of it this way. Cyber Ambassador's experts are aggressively pressure testing things like web apps, mobile apps, and cloud environments. It's essentially like hiring a professional burglar to try and break into your house, just so they can show you exactly which windows and locks are weak, allowing you to fix them before a real criminal shows up. It's this active, ongoing stress test to guarantee that digital infrastructure is totally fortified before the bad guys even arrive.
And doing this builds out a completely holistic defense mechanism. If you look at the compliance side of things, they are guiding these organizations through some incredibly complex, absolutely mandatory legal frameworks. We're talking RBI guidelines, CIBA frameworks, the brand new DPDP Act of 2023, and GDPR. That is the heavy lifting, right? The essential paperwork and rigorous IT governance. But then contrast that with the security posture assessment side. This is the deeply technical, roll-up-your-sleeves kind of work, because they don't just want to ensure a company looks secure on paper to satisfy the regulators, they are making sure it is actively functionally secure deep in the code.
But hey, what happens after you patch all those vulnerabilities and perfectly file your compliance paperwork? Well, you still need a watchtower. That's exactly where their SIEM and SOC solutions come into play. They are providing real-time threat monitoring, constantly analyzing security logs and alerts, and actively integrating live threat intelligence. It basically means there's always a watchful eye, a mix of highly trained humans and smart algorithms staring at the perimeter day and night.
Let's shift gears to part 3, incident response and management.
Because let's be totally realistic for a second here, no wall is entirely impenetrable. When the alarms inevitably go off in that 24/7 watchtower, Cyber Ambassador activates the VIRT, the Virtual Incident Response Team, and this follows a crazy, high-stakes protocol. Step 1, real-time attack response. They jump right in to contain the threat and basically stop the digital bleeding. Step 2 is digital forensics guidance. They lock down the environment to figure out the how and why of the breach. Step 3, cybercrime investigation support, actively tracking the attacker's digital footprints. And Step 4, full emergency instant handling to get normal operations restored safely. It is, for all intents and purposes, an emergency room protocol, but designed for digital infrastructure. Now, obviously, you do not want to be making up your emergency escape protocol while the building is actively on fire. That's why Cyber Ambassador develops a CCMP, a cyber crisis management plan for their clients well beforehand. They provide end-to-end consulting to build out a robust risk assessment and response matrix. Actually, they even develop a communication plan, which is brilliant because when a massive attack happens, knowing how to legally and ethically communicate that breach to your stakeholders in the public is just as critical as fixing the broken servers. And you can see how this plays out in real life.
Client feedback, like this one from Rahul Sharma, really highlights the practical application here. Having a rapid incident response team on standby actively saves networks from critical vulnerabilities when the worst-case scenario actually happens.
Moving into our final section, Part 4, Training and Everyday Tools.
You know, true cybersecurity actually happens at the human level. And this reveals a really fascinating duality in how they operate. On one hand, you have this massive, complex enterprise defense. We're talking the SOC solutions, deep RBI compliance audits, and advanced digital forensics we just discussed. But on the other hand, they've somehow shrunk that massive defense down into pocket protection via their mobile app. They offer everyday tools directly to the public. Things like a breached email check to see if your personal data is out on the dark web, a password authenticity checker, a URL safety scanner so you can catch malicious links before you accidentally click them, and even a device security health scanner. It's basically enterprise-level vigilance right in your pocket.
And they are also heavily focused on knowledge transfer through their quick-learn cyber courses. The way the syllabus scales is perfect. If you are an absolute beginner, you can jump into a free 2-hour cyber awareness session. But for those aiming to actually build a professional career in this field, they offer these intensive 40 to 45-hour intermediate and advanced courses. They cover certified ethical hacking, VAPT, and SOC management, and they even teach using industry-standard tools like Splunk and IBM QRadar.
What's really impressive is that their commitment to education extends way beyond just their paid courses. Cyber Ambassador has delivered over 3,000 real-world awareness sessions. 3,000! They've physically traveled to schools, colleges, and corporate environments just to teach everyday people about AI scams, fraud prevention, and overall digital safety.
Because ultimately, the goal of all this training is genuine behavioral change. Take a look at this feedback from Priya Desai. She notes, "Our entire staff is now much more vigilant against phishing and social engineering." Let's face it, technology can only protect you so far. At the end of the day, humans are the ultimate firewall. By making complex security topics easy to understand, Cyber Ambassador ensures that employees aren't clicking on those dangerous phishing links in the first place.
Wow, okay. So we've covered a massive amount of ground today, from the incredibly complex world of VAPT and RBI compliance, all the way to the high-stakes reality of virtual incident response teams, right down to the mobile apps and training sessions that protect us every single day. The scope of a true digital crime fighter is just incredibly vast. So looking at the sheer scale of the threats out there and the comprehensive defense required to stop them, I'm going to leave you with the exact questions Cyber Ambassador asks on their platform. Evaluate your own digital footprint, your own corporate walls. Are you truly ready to secure your organization? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep your digital doors locked.